All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of NDI Presents. Today, we're going to talk about the service desk and knowledge base that we've put together for Jira. And this is going to cover all of the Jira functionality as well as the Confluence functionality for network designs. So, hopefully, it'll answer a lot of your questions and get you some answers to some questions that you might come up with in the future. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. All right. Now this one's not going to take as long as some of our other offerings. This one I'm expecting to be about half an hour or so because it's really just covering a little bit of how to find information. Um, the Jira Issues Service Desk is actually located right here. So here's the URL, and the URL is provided all over the place. So you shouldn't have any problems finding it. If you do, let me know, and I'll certainly get that URL over to you. Okay. The service desk itself, when you come up to it, below the search bar gives you a couple of forms to use for to create different tickets in the Jira instance itself. So the project space is to have changes made to your project space, changes made to your Jira project, or your Confluence space, have a new space or a new project created, and you can set the requests to include any of the content elements for, in this case, Kanban, Scrum, and Service Desk are Jira based, and Confluence space obviously is Confluence. So let's say you're creating a new space. Your name is at the top. If you're entering this ticket for someone else, you can type their name in there. Create, modify, and delete. So you want to create one. You give it the new project name. Okay. And then you start typing, or you start collecting the data. I want a Scrum board. I don't need a Kanban board. I definitely want a Confluence space. And if there's any specific group membership, so you can say Lewis would be the PM, Dave would be QA, and Scott would be dev. Okay. You can also include any of the standard group memberships that we have. So there's also the read-only group and the auditors group, the CMMI auditors group. All right, and then you just hit create. Can open, show you what one of these existing cases looks like for mine. So this is what it looks like to you as a customer of the service desk. You can add comments to it by typing here or clicking the add comment button. You can include attachments, and you'll see all of the information available to you in the ticket itself. Now, of course, you can also see this stuff in the actual Jira under the Jira Issues project. So if we're looking at that particular one, which was Upgrade Confluence, it's Jira issue 140. If you go into Jira, the Jira Issues project, there it is. Oh, Service Desk, sorry. And then Jira issue 140 is right there. Okay. So one of the things to keep in mind is when you're working in a service desk ticket, you have two different kinds of comments. You have respond to customer and internal comment. So any comment that you make in an internal comment will not show on the service desk window. If you make a comment in a respond to customer window tab, it will show in the service desk window. So that's just a little side note. Not everybody's going to be able to make edits in the service desk. You have to be a member of service desk specifically. However, as a customer, you can absolutely do anything on this in the portal that you'd like. Okay, the next one is user accounts. User accounts are pretty self-explanatory. We're going to create, modify, or delete by email and full name of the user that we're going to add. So you're going to dhopkins@netdes.com. Dave Hopkins, can't spell my own name today. Okay, we want to modify that account, add, um, I don't know, or remove some group. So we'll say remove the GM dev group, add GM dev group, and remove administrators group. I hit enter, it creates the ticket. I get notified automatically on everything that's done in the Jira issues. I'm the gatekeeper for it. There are several of us that work these issues, so if I don't do it myself, I'll assign it to someone who does. All of the issues have an SLA of them in them. So depending on the severity of the issue, the SLA is either, I want to say it's either 24 hours or 4 hours. Yeah, so it's 24 hours or 4 hours. So if you enter a ticket that's a critical, drop everything. I've got a 4-hour turnaround time in a 24-hour calendar. If everything else has 24 hours in a 9 to 5 calendar, so that's actually a 3-day window. Keep that in mind. Okay, that's the SLA for the tickets themselves. If you have an issue that's with Jira itself, not just a project or a Confluence space or a user account, it's within Jira. So we're running into an issue right now where one of the dashboards isn't working and we think it's a Jira bug. So you go into here, you create the ticket just the same, give it a priority, issue and issue description, any attachments. You can also just ask me a question using this system. It's pretty much the same form as the issue form with the exception of the priority. Okay, I get those questions. They come in. They work on the 24-hour SLA. So if you have a question, it gets answered right there. All right, so the next section is the find a solution. Now this attaches directly to the Jira knowledge base. Okay, so if we look at the Jira knowledge base from the Confluence side, there's a lot in here. I've got it broken down into currently into 4 areas. The Jira getting started, which includes a bunch of Jira concept pages, working with issues, other Atlassian resources, the how-tos, okay, how to tell who closed a ticket or who closed a sprint, how to create a project, how to make a template, the troubleshooting articles. For whatever reason, if you can't save, for example, you can't save a Jira filter, stash authentication issues. And then here are video training sessions that are offered by us and by Atlassian. So there's a lot of info in there already. We try to make everything that we put in here, because a lot of this stuff is available on the internet, right? It's all available in YouTube. It's all available on Atlassian's knowledge base. So our knowledge base is really heavily tailored specifically to NDI, the way we work, our customers, things that we do specifically. So the working with tasks and to-dos is designed specifically around the way we function. Running reports, looking at new users. It's also designed so that in working with our specific environment, someone can come in behind me if I get hit by a bus or something ridiculous, God forbid. They'll be able to reverse engineer everything that has been done. So here's the entire group structure. So if you ever wonder about how the group system works, you've got your PMs, devs, read-only, and clients. Somebody else can come in and be able to administrate the Jira infrastructure, which is Jira, Confluence, and Stash, without having to be me. Now, you'd still run into a rights issue. You clearly have to finish the permission schemes page. User accounts requirements, password restrictions. So it's really a pretty simple at the moment. but it's very powerful. And the nice thing is that right here on the Help Center, on this portal page, it's all right here. So if you look up groups, it's going to show you that groups page that I just showed you over in Confluence. So you'll be able to see everything about how the groups are structured. You can do how to create a new user. Groups are included in there. How to create a Confluence space. Some of the Jira concepts, which the Jira concepts goes strictly to the page that is really just a container page. Here's how to create the groups. I'm sorry, create the Confluence space, and adding the groups appropriately is listed in here. These are your right structures, so it shows you using how using the key groups is identified based on the type of group. So there's the clients group, the read-only group. So you can see right in here what your rights are if you're put into a developer. So let's say you're in, the GP developer. These are the rights you're going to have and not have, as it were, in any Confluence space that's associated with that project. All right. Now up toward the top, the helpful links, this takes you to Atlassian University, which is Atlassian's complete training on everything top to bottom for Jira and Confluence. And it's all free to us. We can use a lot of it. Some of it is clearly a buy, but there's tons of free tutorials here, tons of free information. This is where I go to get all of my information for how to make things work. The next part is directly to Jira and Confluence user guides. And these are obviously at Atlassian on the Confluence side. So this is all straight through working with Jira Core, Jira Agile, which really now it's kind of a misnomer because the two are one. They just haven't combined all of the documentation yet. So in the meantime, we still kind of, if you have an Agile problem, we bump into Jira Agile user guide instead of the Jira Core user guide. So if we think about Jira Core user guide, that's going to handle more of the system infrastructure itself, where the Jira Agile is going to handle working within an Agile project and Agile space. That's the Scrum boards and the Kanban boards and all that stuff. And oh, that's nice. Why did my Confluence user guide get deleted? Clearly I need to update these the links. So this is where you would come right here for your Confluence help. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, there's not a lot to it. You log in using your regular Jira username and password. If you don't have one, see me. And your personal requests after you've entered one of these tickets would show up right here, and you get emails on it just like anything else. Some other things to consider is when you go up to the Help Center, you'll see all of the service desks that NDI offers to its customers. The Jira service desk, Jira Issues service desk, is the premier one that we use for internal NDI. Now, this is not the NDI help desk. I'm working on getting that rolled in. This is right now Jira, Confluence, and Stash help desk specifically. But we also have, there's one for Business Plan Builder, Creative Services, and the FAA Content Update. So these two, actually all three of these are specifically client-based. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's going to be a short one today. That's a record, I think, 15 minutes. Let me pull up the space and see if we have any questions. I cannot imagine that we do. Where is it? Here it is. Mute that. And no questions at the moment. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and call this done. As usual, if you have any questions, go ahead and send them off to me. If you'd like to experience using the Jira Issues service desk, please feel free to do that. The URL is right here. Jira.netdes.com service desk /customer/portal/12. And that pretty much covers it for today. I hope you guys all find this service desk useful. And I really do like getting that updated and keeping stuff in there. There's so much in there and it's so helpful. I revert back to it quite regularly because that's where I'm tracking things that I'm having to fix for people. And then I put it all up. I document it fully for when it happens again, because inevitably it happens again. And then we're good to go. So I'll fix my screen here. So that pretty much covers it. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.